American 11, are you trying to call?
The cockpit is not answering their phone. Our number 1 has been staffed, and our 5 has been staffed.
Hey, I'm going to call from Washington. I am in a situation with American 11, a possible hijack.
What's going on, Betty? The aircraft is erratic again. Problem, very erratic. Betty, talk to me.
It's 8:52 here in New York. We understand that there has been a plane crash on the southern tip of Manhattan. We're looking at the city's World Trade Center. We understand that a plane has crashed into the World Trade Center.
We fly higher and eagles soaring. We won't come down. We don't fly forever. I remember by this land of one won't fall asunder. We won't fall down. We don't fly forever. I remember by September.
When Americans are in need, Americans pull together. And we are one country. And when we face hardship, we emerge closer, stronger, and more determined.
It's a remembrance for them souls that we lost in them twin towers. You never forgotten every September bring in showers of tears. And now the pain of the kid that lost somebody. I often think about it, say the baby's my only object to tote. To all the families the most, we suffer with you for sure. We all together in this mission to hope. So I'ma pray for everybody, ain't no missing the vote. Go ahead and rest, vote my memory hold. And we fly higher and eagles soaring. We won't come down. We don't fly forever. I remember by this land of one won't fall asunder. We won't fall down. We don't fly forever. I remember by September, yeah.
We're gathered here today to remember a morning that started very much like this one. Parents dropped off their children at school. Travelers stood in line at airports and getting ready to board flights. Our whole world changed. America was under attack. The horror and anguish of that dark day were seared into our national memory.
I remember when you called my phone, crying, telling me come home, that the world was at war and you ain't want to be alone. I think about the mothers, the fathers, sons, and the daughters, and all the first responders, police, and the firefighters. We fly higher and eagles soaring. We won't come down. We don't fly forever. I remember by this land of one won't fall asunder. We won't fall down. We don't fly forever. I remember by September, yeah.
The families with us on this anniversary. We know that not a single day goes by when you don't think about the loved one stolen from your life. Today, our entire nation grieves with you, and with every family of those 2,977 innocent souls. But no force on earth can ever take away your memories, diminish your love, or break your will to endure and carry on and go forward.
We fly higher and eagles soaring. We won't come down. We don't fly forever. I remember by September. I think about the mothers, the fathers, sons, and the daughters. I think about the mothers, the fathers, sons, and the daughters.
I'm gonna die, aren't I? No. Say I'm gonna die. Live, say your prayers.
A new type of war. That's what it is.
What's good, y'all? That was the Sticks. That was their Remember 9/11. Today is 22 years since that day. And you know what's kind of crazy, and I realized it a little bit ago, is I usually sleep in, being that I work nights, and Monday is kind of my day off. So I could have slept in till a little later, but I had to get up to take my daughter to school. But I woke up, I think I was in 6th grade. I'm pretty sure it was 6th. Maybe 7th. And I thought the whole world was coming to an end. Actually, I was in I was in 8th grade when that happened. No, I was in 7th grade. But I remember being in middle school, and it was like the whole world stopped, dude. It stood still for a brief moment. Things changed drastically. People's lives changed in more ways than one. So I wanted to make sure before I got started on what I wanted to talk about that I incorporated that. You know, we don't want to forget that. I don't think my generation and the generation right in front of me and right after me will ever forget that. I think Carly and a couple other people have said in the chat that they were in 5th grade and they remember it like it was yesterday. British Bulldog said it, and he's across the water, across the pond, as they would say it. So yeah, I think that that war, that terroristic, I think that was a kind of a turning point for our society in general. Like, not only did it change so much, dude, like people, I heard somebody talking about it the other day that people were able to fake their passports and fly wherever they wanted to. It was an artist. I can't remember who it was, but he said he went everywhere. I think it was on a Mike Tyson podcast. They went everywhere, dude. They faked their name, and as a criminal, they were able to travel all over the world. And as soon as 9/11 happened, everything changed. Everything was cracked down on. Everything was monitored way more strictly. And yeah, that's good, right? That there's change there, but with that type of change comes change in other aspects of life. So 9/11 changed history of time. Like, in my opinion, what happened molded America for what it is today, in a sense. That's just my opinion. Yeah, I was in 5th grade as well. I don't have a great memory. I don't have a great memory of it, but I remember it coming on the TVs, and I remember the chaos I could see in Mr. DeMillo's eyes. I remember the teacher I was in. I just can't remember what grade he was. I think he was 8th grade world history, if I remember correctly. And it was crazy. We were watching the TV in the morning we were watching like some sort of news, something on the TV. And breaking news popped up, and we technically sat there in the classroom and watched the second plane, I'm pretty sure, fly into it. I'm if I remember correctly, by the time we seen it, the first plane already hit. Obviously, they're not going to be monitoring it before it happened, but we started watching like right before the second plane, and when that happened, like I said, as a middle schooler, even, you were like, what just happened? So it changed society. If you knew about it, you knew the hate and the terror that organization put on Americans, then it affected you in some way. I mean, look at what the military had to do to combat it. I mean, it's, in my opinion, that's the time when it gave my generation a different outlook on the military, both positive and negative, because there was a lot of hate that was shielded at the military due to 9/11. There was a lot of things, a lot of things changed, man. I think that war was one of the first to have social media. Not a large presence in Afghanistan and where was it? Afghanistan? Yeah, not a large presence there in Pakistan and all that, but it was created around the time that all that was going. It's crazy. It's crazy. It's crazy how history kind of puts a change on your opinion, but it also changes how opinions are created, because a lot of people didn't even know what a terrorist were. I mean, let's be honest. Like, some people, I didn't, not in 7th grade. Like, schools didn't teach me what a terrorist was. So a lot of people didn't have an understanding of the necessary acts that the military do. Like, people were like, yo, why are they running in here and doing this and doing that? Well, there's a reason. Is it everything that we think it is? Maybe not. But at the end of the day, they got to protect us as Americans, right? And I think 9/11 helped show everyone that that's a reality, that at any moment You could be doing your job, just living your everyday, working your 9 to 5, and your whole life could change because of money. When it boils down to it, money and power, the influence that these other countries want that we have, and they try to hit us where it hurt, and it worked. Essentially, it drastically changed the way we did things. So yeah, it's cool to understand these parts of history. It's super sad. It's super devastating what these families went through for history to happen. But in my opinion, remembering it, talking about it, passing it along to someone else, that's important. That's important because there is people like that were super young that don't fully understand what 9/11 even is. I think my son asked me, because he's my stepson, but I think he asked me, I don't think he actually asked me. I started talking about it and you could see he was intrigued. He was pretty young. And I was like, you don't know what that is, huh? It kind of clicked that there is generations of children that just don't fully. I don't think he was in school yet. I think he was like 6. Maybe he was just starting school. So it wasn't something that the schools even talked about yet. But I feel like it's an important thing for people to know the history of America. And it shouldn't be shielded on certain topics either. Like, just because I believe that should be known, there's other things that are deep, dark, and cruel that happened in America and happened because of America or had something to partially do with America that people don't want their kids to hear. But in all reality, knowledge is power, man. I've said it before. The more you know, the more you're equipped in life to handle life's obstacles. Like it is what it is. You never know when you might need something. And knowledge will allow you to be like, you know how they say he's a jack of all trades. He can do a bunch of different things. Well, that is because of knowledge. You know what I mean? So, all right. I want to talk about using your resources. I want to talk about as content creators, as business owners, as anybody that can use thumbnails, videos, any type of promotional aspect of social media. Because let's be honest, man, a lot of us have businesses that we do on the side, whether it be cups, t-shirts, selling, like resale, yard sales. There's so many different things. If you're a part of Facebook groups that do yard sales or resales, it's super important to have some sort of marketing ability to not necessarily sell your product, but you want people to know you exist. And I found that doing my reactions on my phone, it kind of opened an avenue that I realized that making thumbnails, making promotional ads, making promotional videos, that stuff is super easy. You can do it all on a phone. You don't necessarily have to have a computer, depending on the level you're trying to make it to. I've heard other people talk about how you have to do this on a computer. You have to do that. I mean, I guess in a sense, you should eventually graduate to a computer. But if you're just starting off, if you're a small business owner, whatever it may be, I know British Bulldog in the chat has a clothing company starting, or he's already started. He's out. Bulldog, you could drop the link if you want to your clothing. And look, dude, like, business owners, that's advertising, that's marketing. So in my eyes, I would hope Bulldog clips what I just said in this video that says, hey man, shout out to British Bulldog, or to Bulldog Clothing. Shout out to his shirts, his hats. It's Bubba Clothing. Shout out to that. You know what I mean? Those things in videos and that advertising and that marketing ability for yourself is important. As a YouTuber, as a businessman, nowadays people don't invest the time into worrying about what's on a piece of paper. You can staple papers all over poles and stick them on windows, and people are going to walk past them looking down at their phone. It is what it is. So if you are a part of groups and a part of these communities that are selling products, you want to be able to put something together that you could share in these communities, or selling content videos like, hey, come watch me. When I say selling, I also mean like advertising, essentially. If nobody knows that something exists, how do you expect somebody to watch? You have to be something that somebody can go to, and the only way you can get there is if you know that it's there. It's actually really easy. So what do you guys think? Here we don't go be scared. It's not as complicated. Like, look, check this out. I see content creators that have never come on camera that do like promotional videos for whatever they support. I think that's cool. Do you have to do that? No. As a content creator, you're free to do what you want. If you want to consume it, consume it. If not, great. But I've seen people that use that to help promote their favorite artists or their favorite art or content creator, whatever it is, baseball bat, hula hoop, whatever. And when they did that long enough, they got good enough at doing it that they just became a content creator. They turned on their camera and it changed their ability to make their YouTube because they had the knowledge of making videos prior to actually having to do it for their self. That makes sense. It's an art to it, man. And it's fun. Like my thumbnails, like this thumbnail here, I want to show everybody something. The thumbnail that I just recently made, I put a short out and look, that's some smoke that I put on a black background, mess with the color. You know what I mean? I adjusted the color. I changed some things. And these are all settings that are in an app, in a Polish app. The name of the app I use is Polish. I put some stickers on it, added some font, added some effects to the back, put my logo on it. Like it's not nothing serious. Do you have to do stuff like that? No. But I just see a lot of artists that are within the genre that follow what I'm doing and what other people are doing. Not follow what we're doing, but within the same community. And I feel like a lot of independent people have to outsource things. I don't think it's necessary. I think the creative mind, if you're an artist and you can make music, or if you're a content creator and you can make a video, I think the importance of a thumbnail is big. I mean, I could be wrong, but thumbnail is what gets people's attention. So thumbnails are what attract the eye of the consumer. If it doesn't look good and it's not attractive, they don't watch it. That's my opinion. That's how I do it. If I'm looking through and the thumbnail catches my eye and it's something that interests me, I'm going to click on it. All right, let's go. What's this about? Well, I have two thoughts on that. As one is I agree. But the other hand, it gives the haters a reason to bash your product. Yeah, who cares? Who cares? If you construct your YouTube channel off of a hater, then you're doing it wrong anyway. Who cares what a hater thinks? Who cares what anybody thinks? You do it. One of the best parts of art, one of the best parts. See, this is the lost thing for me in YouTube and just consuming art is not meant for everyone to love. This is a form of art. Social media is an extended form of art. YouTube videos are art. Making a thumbnail, having a background, having, somewhat of a studio, if you would call it that. That's important to me as the artistic creator, because if I don't have these things, then what am I really doing here? Am I just on the video babbling my mouth about just random shit? No. That's not how it works. That's not the way that I feel that it works. That's my opinion though. So for me, the ability to create your own content, to create your own image for something is important. That's why I've outsourced to my own, like downloading an app for my thumbnails and downloading an app for my videos wasn't super easy. It took some time for me to go through each app to find something that works for me. But now I only use 2 apps that I'm able to create my thumbnails with one and edit my videos with the other. So it's not something that if I can do it, anybody can do it, right? So it kind of turns me away from songs sometimes, and it might sound crazy, but I feel like Just Trey does a really good job at creating an image for his music. that was one of the things that I think drew me to his music, regardless of who shared it. I think his artistic ability across the board was pretty dope. His ability to make a dope thumbnail, to make a dope album cover, that he did, you know what I mean? That was cool. So that's the whole approach to music for me, at least, because I'm a fan of the music, but I'm also a fan of the art that goes into the music. You know, I want to see, hey, what did they put as their cover for this album? This is a pretty dope album. Like, is there a video to this song? And I think that connection with your fans is important as well, because that's kind of how you can see somebody's style. I can understand your style of music if I can understand your style of art. Some people prefer a more abstract art. And, you know, like example, I started this stream with the Styx. They did Remember 9/11. They're doing a reimagined version. I think it's about to drop at 11:45, right? Where they redo it. And it'll be cool to hear because they have a different sound. They're at a different point in their careers right now. Life is different from when they made that one. And 9/11, like I said, affects everybody differently. So it's cool to listen to them change it up a little bit and try something different. And I know their type of music based off of their art. Cindy's artwork and his elaborate schemes of why he makes things make sense. So I can only imagine what type of remix they're going to come up with. And the only reason I know that is because they're very artistic across the board. But yeah, so I think that when you saturate a genre, I guess you could call it, if you want to call it Southern hip hop, if you want to call it country rap, if you want to call it whatever you want to call it, independent music in general. I think independent music has always had a bad look. It's getting better, but I think it's always had a bad look for underperforming content. Like, it might be a great song, but you didn't put it together with the whole package. Like, you don't have a solid video, you don't have a solid background, you don't have a solid nothing about it. And that turns people away from the actual product that you're trying to have them consume. So if you want somebody to hear your music and you want somebody to respect your art, you have to give them the full package. If that makes sense. AD, howdy, chat and Kurt. Good morning. Howdy, AD. Like I said, AD is a content creator. He has a different direction of his channel, but it's an interesting direction that he goes down sometimes. And people are interested in what he wants to talk about. So if that's all it takes, bro. And some people don't, he just doesn't care, and that's okay. But there is people that yearn for the attention of others, right? But they don't really try to better their channel or better their content. And it just kind of, it blows my mind. It's cool as somebody that stuff interests me. I think it's cool because I kind of get an understanding from both sides. I can see myself as somebody that takes pride in a channel and making good content and being frustrated with a small error in a video that you guys might not even know that's there, but I take pride in doing it, right? And nothing against somebody else, but there's other times that I see a video and I'm like, yo, that was a great video, but man, why didn't you know what I mean? And that's okay. That's just criticism. Like, don't take that the wrong way. I mean, no disrespect in that, but everybody at some point has to have a gauge of, like, I played sports. I always was like, damn, that dude's pretty good. Gave credit where credit is due. Or, hey, he's pretty good, but you know, he bobbles the ball when he fields a hard ground ball down the line every time. Hit it down the line, he's going to bobble it. Like, that was the instinct of a sport, of a nature of an athlete. Like, you have to look around your surroundings and say, hey, what type of competition is around me? And I think that's the stigma that a lot of people didn't like about a jock or like the stereotype athletic. That they're constantly sizing up the competition. But I think that allowing yourself to understand that people are better at things than you are is important. we're never going to be the best at what we do ever. There's always going to be somebody better than us. But it's important for me, at least, to constantly try to better what I'm doing and get better at doing it. Because if you're doing something and you're never trying to get better at it, then why are you really doing it? And that goes with everything in life. That goes with work. That goes with being a parent. That goes with getting up every day and living your life, dude. Like, people talk about, religion and this or that. At the end of the day, if you strive to do better every day at the things you do in your life and try to be a better person and live your life as righteous as possible and honest, I believe that none of that stuff even begins to matter at that point. If you're doing everything you can every day to do right by you and to do right by your family, and you're making the best choices you can, and when you make a bad choice, you accept it and you grow from it, that to me is the best type of person there is. So looking around and judging, being a consumer, that a market is flooded with constant music. There's music everywhere. Everywhere you look, there's music. I could find music in any pocket of YouTube, right? Somebody somewhere is playing something right now that we've never heard. Not just somewhere, it's all over YouTube. If you don't have a way to convey that music to them, to transfer that music to them that is appealing in some sort of form, what interest do they have to listen to what you're trying to provide them? Like Claire showed there's a content creator that was live last night that showed some finger dude with things all over his fingers. The guy was a really good singer. It was different. It was real different. It was crazy. Like, I forget, it was Cut Fingers or something was the name of the song. But the interest of the time that he took to make this clown looking figure with these cut fingers, while I'm ingesting the picture of this dude with these split fingernails all the way to the ground that are red, and I don't even know if it was string or what it was. I'm listening to the song, realizing that he's a good singer, but I'm not turning it off because I'm ingesting the art of the thumbnail. So if you can create some sort of attention to your art, to your talent, then you can showcase your other talents. So if you're really good at being an artistic singer or whatever it may be, in this case, we're speaking on music. If you can do good at music and you're a good artist at music, if you don't have a way to market your music, independent, you have to market your music. I'm a fan of independent artists. I don't really agree with what the mainstream does. And I've said this for a long time. When you're independent, you have to do mainstream shit. Like, you have to move like the mainstream. You have to market yourself for yourself. Like, that's what being independent is. So in order to do that, you can't be independent and put out videos with trash ass thumbnails, trash ass content on it, because people are not going to consume it. It's hard for the mainstream to promote videos that are good videos with horrible artists on them, with great thumbnails. And it's hard, and they do it, but they have such a machine that they're able to reach such an audience that you're not able to do. So I've always said, man, try to take that pride in the content. Justin Time said it. Like, we as content creators within the genre of country rap, if you're a part of this country rap movement and you're trying to spread the message of Southern hip hop and tell people, hey, this is dope music, enjoy this is pretty cool, you're not going to change somebody's opinion with a bunch of stuff that looks like trash. You're not going to change somebody's opinion with a bunch of content that's trash. And it's facts. Find another area of YouTube and go listen to some of the people and listen to some of the crazy stuff that they talk about. And you tell me how much you care about what those people like. It's pretty mind-numbing when you do that. When you go around and you find all these crazy topics and all this trash videos that make no sense to the average person that comes in from the outside, right? And you're promoting something or trying to say you're making it better or whatever it may be, but yet the product that you're putting out is no better than the folks that It's crazy. So yeah, try to take more of a pride in your creativity and your art. Find stuff that interests you. You know, if you want to talk about situations or you want to make content on situations, find a creative way to do it. I think that content for me is very intriguing, and it's dope to watch. I don't mind when somebody makes content and it's actually content. You know what I'm saying? But when it's repetitive, it's hard to watch. It's hard to watch somebody repetitively fail at making content. But that goes across the board with music. The creative mind has to be established. You have to understand somebody's creative thoughts. If you don't understand their creative thoughts, how can you connect to them on a platform like YouTube? How can you listen to an artist that you can say you thoroughly enjoy without understanding the art behind the music they do? And it used to not be a big deal. That used to not be a thing. Nobody gave a shit what album. I mean, you collected them, you put them in your folder for your music, but that didn't determine if you watched or listened to the song. You had already probably heard one or two tracks off an album, and because you were a fan of those one or two tracks, the only way you could consume it was by going to Best Buy or Sam Ash or wherever at the time and buying the music. That's how it worked. And then the album art and the album cover and the stuff inside were all a bonus to maybe teasing their next album, talking about what they did in this album, talking about like an interview, essentially. So now it's been reversed, and to the point where your content view and your content consumption is based solely upon the image that you portray in that thumbnail or your channel name. There's so many different the content. So, you know, when you scroll past it and the content's rolling and you can kind of see some of the video, if it's not interesting to look at and it's not something that's going to catch somebody's attention in a positive way, they're not going to watch it. And if they watch it in a negative way, you're getting a negative supporter to your channel, which in sense harms the entire idea behind your channel. Nobody makes YouTube channels and says, or is an artist and creates content and says, hey, I want to create controversy. That controversy comes later on. Some start, I guess, essentially with some controversy, but I don't believe that people come into this YouTube life and this musical careers with any sort of beef. I think they think it's a magical thing, it's a cool thing, a fun thing, and I think the lack of content, the lack of understanding of promotion for music, for whatever it may be, has changed over time, because it's just flooded with anybody has the ability nowadays to become a content creator, to become a rapper, to become a singer, anyone. And some people are super successful. Look at Oliver Anthony. But that dude hasn't just been singing for a couple months. He's been singing his whole life. He just happened to catch the attention. And look, he had a very solid video. He had a very solid performance. His mic was in tune. Everything sounded great. That was marketability. He even posted his original song on another platform in order to reach more people. Imagine that. That would be my question. I would want to know from him, if I had the opportunity to interview Oliver Anthony or ask him a question, I would want to know, what was the idea behind the release of your number one first release that everyone found you from? How did you go behind, like what made you decide? And I heard him talk about it a little bit, that he only predicted about 250, 300,000 people would see it. So he knew it was going to make, and that's why he wanted to make a video. This is what he said. These were his words. He wanted to make a solid video, nice production, good quality, posted on the site. And he also had a lot of other stuff lined up that was already made, ready to go to release after this. He had an idea of how he was going to get his music to the people that he wanted his music to go to. And he did it. and he did it effectively. And I would be willing to bet that it cost him little to maybe not no money, because he, depending on if he knew the people that had the page, but it probably cost him a little bit of money. So like, you have to be able to market yourself if you're an artist. You have to be able to market yourself if you're a YouTuber. Like, don't ever doubt, if you got extra $50, put it away. I've been considering trying to do ads, because I've listened to a lot of independent artists that have become very successful off just spending a little money on advertising their content. Because like I've said, if nobody knows you exist, then how do you ever expect people to support you? I told my son early on, if you're going to make content, make sure you make enough content at a good enough quality, and find a system to do it. Because if you ever do catch traction and anybody ever wants, more from you, and you get a large following, if you don't have the content to back the following, those people are going to leave. That's why I have 600 videos. Because I feel like you got to stay with it. You got to stay on it. You got to constantly improve the content. I'm to the point now where I'm ready to think I'm going to start branching into the computer, because I've, in my opinion, I've got every knowledge I could get from both of these apps on my phone. And the only thing I can do is try to find an app that's more sophisticated and buy another one. Or I can just go to the computer and start learning it. So yeah. So that was that. I just think that us as a community, and let me know in the chat what you think. I'll read a couple of them here in a minute. What you guys think as fans, what draws you to the content. And I don't mean like to keep coming back, that too, but I also mean to be a new consumer of content. Like if you're scrolling through YouTube and you see something, what draws you to it? How does it change what you might watch? I would be interested to know that. And if you're watching this and it's not live, leave some comments and tell me, like, is that correct? Do I have the right idea? Because we don't know this as content creators. There's no class. Well, I haven't found one that teaches you things. It can give you suggestions and you can hear opinions from other people. But I believe that the appearance of the content is very important to a consumer. And if I'm wrong, let me know. If I'm right, maybe add to it, whatever. Blind Squad, hey, what's good? Yeah, what's up, Blind Squad TV? British Bulldog in the house, True Texan, Carly, Patrick. And these are the topics that I want to continue to do on here. These first couple podcasts that I've got planned out, it's kind of me getting an understanding and a feel for how I'm going to completely approach these next couple months of creating a podcast. And I'm going to do it like other podcasts, and I'm going to do seasons, man. I'm starting the season. My birthday is September 26th. So I'm going to be, doing it every 4 months, maybe is a season. I don't know how seasons work, but that's marketability. People like the fact that they're watching seasons. Hey, I watched all of Captain Kirk season 1. It might sound cheesy, it might sound silly, but that's the creation of content, the art of content for me. That's part of it. Why would I create something of a podcast and not follow some sort of artistic like pocket, if that makes sense? Like nobody does podcasts just because they want to create they want people to listen to their opinions. They want people to listen to other people's opinions. They want to listen to other people's opinions. I hope you're okay in Florida, man. Yeah, I'm good in Florida. There ain't no biggies in Florida, dog. Florida's straight. We're good. Pray for me, I guess. I appreciate it, but we're good. Yeah, so this is the first notification I got. Hey, I don't know what to tell you, man. They don't want me to be successful. So that's another thing. If you're creating content that looks good, maybe it helps break you out of these shadow bans. Maybe enough people see good content, solid created content, and they continue to watch it. All right, so that's that. Next, I want to talk about addiction a little bit and touch on addiction in music. I've talked about it before, and I've noticed over the past couple, I'd say months, maybe a month or two, that there actually it's been probably longer than that. It's been about 6 months, but there's a lot of addiction that is being talked about, and recovery is becoming a part of, in my opinion, the country rap genre. I think if you look at the history of Southern hip hop as a country rap genre, and you look at like Jelly Roll as an example, Jelly Roll has openly admitted to drug use, right? Burden recently talked about his issues with addiction to alcohol. These artists now, Leroy Biggs, you know what happened with Leroy? Leroy went through some life-changing addiction, almost life-ending addiction. Now this music is going to be starting to, and it already has a little bit, talking about their struggles with addiction. And I think that's super important for this community, considering the fact that I see a lot of people that still struggle with addiction to this day. And I also see a lot of people that are dealing with recovery in the genre. And it makes me think, like, is that just here? And I believe it's not. I believe it's across the board. I think addiction and music go hand in hand. And I'm going to tell you why. I believe that music molds us to be who we are today. Like growing up, what we listen to, what we consume, it molds us to the characters that we are today. It does. Your musical choice, believe it or not, probably influenced a lot of things that you have done in your life, and you didn't even know it. And some you do know. Music as a whole, for me, was addiction, right? So growing up, I grew up on listening to country, and I snuck rap when I could. And I noticed that the people that I hung around with listened to really hardcore rap. And eventually I listened to it. And eventually I started doing drugs. And I started looking at the patterns of what I was listening to. A lot of the artists were glorifying drug use. They were glorifying essentially addiction, things that addiction bring on. They were excited to talk about them. They were excited to talk about nodding off and running off on the plug and doing all this shit, dude. And as a consumer, as a child, as a growing adolescent, I believe that this was like normal. And a lot of people say, oh, how can you, that's not reality. But as somebody that doesn't even understand how to live his life yet, and I'm consuming essentially glorification of drugs, how does that sit in my brain as somebody that obviously has an addictive issue? I have an addictive personality. I have an addiction issue, right? So now you're seeing the youth, like Jelly ain't old, Jelly ain't young. I think he's around my age. Burden is a little younger than me, and Leroy is younger than me. So this is the results. And there's so many more. Seth Anthony has got some songs about it. I think Dusty Lee talks about it a little bit. But there's so much music that Coca's got a song about heroin I use. I'm pretty sure that's what it is. So there's so much music now that we're hearing the outcome of an addictive past for some of us. So for me, somebody that's been clean from my drug of choice for the last 6 years, alcohol, it's been a little over than 6 years. So for me as a person, I feel like I don't want to consume drug addicts. Call it what you want, call it judgmental, call it whatever you want to call it. But if I don't know, it doesn't truly bother me because I don't know. So to hear these guys come out and be like, hey, we've been using alcohol and we're getting clean, or we've been using drugs and we're getting clean, that's really dope to hear to me, because I was consuming music from you that didn't glorify drugs. Maybe it did in a sense, in a metaphor or a bar or however you want to look at it. But for the most part, you were just making music. I feel addiction is a part of music, because my son pointed out something really, really important, and I was proud to know that he said this. I was talking about Kodak Black. Kodak Black was, I watched this dude tripping out on something, meth. I don't know what it was. Who knows? Nobody knows, maybe, other than him. I kind of was like, yo, why do you listen to this dude? He's a loser. And he said, well, we went back and forth for a little bit, and he's like, people tell you to talk about your addiction problems, right? That's all he's doing. And I'm like, huh. He's like, this guy's making music. He's just telling everybody he needs help. And it's true. Like he's actually understanding the music for that, and not for this is what you should do. And that was important to me. I think people forget that these artists and these people that you look up to, they're also human and they make mistakes. And sometimes they don't have the right answers. Addiction for them, they didn't know what it was, right? So us as consumers, we just go along with, hey, our favorite artist is doing this as young adolescents. And hey, even adults that struggle with addiction, that are in recovery, that have triggers, that have things that cause them to want to use. Sometimes listening to the wrong song can cause a trigger, can cause somebody to want to use. So yeah, go watch the Sticks, man. They just dropped. Go watch them. I'm only going to be live for a little bit longer. I got some things I got to take care of. I wanted to fill this out. I want to start. The reason I went on StreamYard is because I want to start trying to find people. Like last night, I was live with Stoned and Not Alone, and it was cool to have somebody to bounce conversation with. And I want to do that, but I don't want to keep it the same people. So I was thinking of a lineup, and I think season 1 of my podcast, I'm going to try to find maybe some people to do season 2 with, or maybe finish out season 1. I think it would be dope to see some different opinions. And that's why I talked to AD. I know a lot of people maybe don't respect AD, or I think different opinions are important in society. I stand on having, the freedom of speech. I believe in it. I think us as humans, and this goes to the addiction side of it, I think us as humans all possess an addictive mindset. And I think YouTube also can become very addicting. And I think attitudes and mentalities of reality shift to what's actually respected and what's not. And we act different towards people in real life than we do on YouTube. So I can't judge somebody's real life opinions, like things I'm talking about now, like opinions on addiction in music, opinions on the military, opinions on personal reflection, personal understanding, like how somebody else understands humans. I believe addiction to society, addiction to social media, addiction to the thrill of something else. Like we're all, if you look at music, right, and you watch an artist drop a song, if you look in the comments, there'll be plenty of comments saying, hey, when's your next song? Like I can't, and I've done that. But I don't understand why I did it. I think I do now. I think it's just an addiction for something more, something different, constantly. Like, oh, that was dope, but what else you got? And if you look at that as a sign of, hey, if I'm addicted to constantly watching YouTube videos, I'm addicted to constantly doing more, I shouldn't drink. I shouldn't do drugs. That should be the immediate sign to say, hey. But I think as consumers of music, a lot of us depend on music to get us through life. A lot of us depend on music to support us because we don't have support that we desire, whether it be because it just doesn't exist, or we've destroyed it because of our addictions, or we've just destroyed it because of our luck of the draw. Whatever it may be, everybody falls on hardships. Everybody goes through something, and at some point, everybody becomes vulnerable to an addictive mentality, an addictive nature, an addictive personality. Something you could get a sore tooth, have a pulled tooth, be addicted to pain pills because you had to get that addressed, right? And I think people lose grasp of that. I think music helps to align people with the fact that addiction exists in all of us. The most successful to the least successful. It's there. It thrives in everyone. Addiction is not racist. It's not discriminatory. It will take over everything in everyone if we allow it to. What do y'all think? Do you think that see, when I went through recovery, there was a large amount of time that I didn't listen to music. It didn't exist for me. I couldn't do it because there was so much songs that I had drank and drugged to and I had partied to that had brought up so many memories of that, and my mind immediately glorified those moments, and that was dangerous for a recovering addict. Yeah, I know not all music is clean. That's my point. So like as a consumer of music, for me, with addiction around, I couldn't consume music until I conquered some part of my addiction. Because if I couldn't understand my addiction and I couldn't prevent, and I didn't know the ways to prevent my addiction from overtaking me, music would trigger something in me to use. Now, music doesn't do that. It doesn't have that ability. I mean, I'll be honest with you. There has been times that certain songs have came on or certain things have been said in a song, and it has made me think about drugs. Did I act on them? No, but it still exists. And that's what the power that most people want, that they talk about, that they say, how do you achieve it? Where do you get this power of getting away from using? And really, it's just getting away from using, and it's educating yourself on your addiction. It's not everybody else's addiction, because their addiction doesn't really matter. Those are their personal experiences, and what triggers them is going to be completely different for you. So that's why it's cool to hear it in music. It's cool to hear the stuff that Leroy's going to put out, because his opinions on his substance issues are going to be different than mine. We might have some similarities, but I can guarantee you his direction of it all was the same, because we were addicts, or we are addicts, I guess you would say. But what got him to his addiction is going to be different than what got me to mine. What he went through in his addiction is going to be different than what I went through. What Burden's going through is similar with his time in jail because of alcohol, but in the same sense, it's not even close to the same. Because what he went through during his time with alcohol is very different than mine. They're both tragic, but very different. So hearing his story and his music is very, very inspirational to me as a recovering addict, to be like, yo, that's exactly what you got to do, bro. Keep talking about it. Keep getting it out. Keep telling people about your addiction. Tell on yourself. When it's your addiction, tell on yourself. Be an addict that tells on themselves, because the more you tell people about it, the more you're going to not want to be an addict anymore. But listen, guys, I really enjoyed coming up here. If anyone wants to come up, man, reach out to me. reach out to me in chat if you want. I got time. If I drop the link, if anybody wants to come up here and add anything to this, you can. I'll drop the link. I'll give it a few minutes. If you don't, you don't. It is what it is, but I'll give that option. I want to do that. I want to give some people to some opportunities to say something when I do stuff like this. It's hard for me to read the chat and try to carry on something when it's just me up here. So I do apologize. My addiction left me dead in 2013. I got body slammed and had to learn to walk again. Once I got better and walked again. There you go, bro. That's what it's all about. Keep going. Yeah, congrats on your recovery, man. But like, I always remember that, like, after you recover, just know that everything after that becomes harder. Like, once you've gone through recovery, don't ever try to go through it again, because each time it becomes harder and there's a greater risk that you're going to kill yourself. Like, I've had a lot of friends that thought they could use again and it didn't end up in their favor. But yeah, I'll drop the link. I'll leave it out there for a minute. If anybody wants to come up and add anything, they can. If you ever have any ideas and you want to join one of these podcasts, reach out to me. I'm going to try to put them a few days out and put a good description in there what it is. That way, if anybody wants to add to it, they'll have that opportunity. But yeah, I enjoy stuff like this. I think you guys will kind of like what I'm going to do. I'm going to keep. I wasn't going to start the podcast immediately. I wasn't going to do this without thoroughly getting a plan down. But I don't really like the scripted way of doing stuff. I think that it takes away from the creative ability. I think once you create a script to a sense that you have to go by that script, and if you go outside of it, then there ain't no rules for me. So I figure, why try to create something that I don't have to follow anyway? This is my channel. This is what I'm going to do. So I'm going to do this. I'm going to get some guests that are going to come up. I want to get Stone not alone. He's a very intelligent person with different beliefs, but similar. And when I call and say, hey, bro, I don't believe that. I disagree. The times I've talked to him, he's allowed. We've had positive disagreements, right? And that's what it's all about for me. I want people that are going to challenge my thoughts, challenge my opinions. I think that's important for the growth of a human. Like, I think healthy arguments are necessary in life. And I don't think people can do it like they used to. What do they call it? Debates? Like the debate teams. I don't think people can do that. Try to get your boy dirty. Bro, I've tried to reach out to Outlaw Nation to get some of them on interviews and stuff. And them dudes really are hard to get a hold of. I mean, I don't know. See, I don't know if it's just, I don't know. I had, what was it, Adrian Raps, but he ain't even a part of Outlaw Nation anymore. I think I got a hold of him once or twice, and that was really it. Yeah, I've been thinking about doing that, Gaza. I've been thinking about trying to better that production in it. The last one I did with my microphone in my car at like 4:00 in the morning. I shouldn't have done it that way. I should have waited till I could get in the studio and try to improve the sound quality, whether it be through the EQ or something. But that was on me. I'm going to do more of them. Like I said, it comes down to the creative mind, and I don't do them unless I kind of get an itch for them, because without some sort of creative mind, they're just essentially, to me, stealing somebody's music. Even though they're making the money for the music, I'm stealing the view. I'm stealing the idea of it. But if I can create some sort of a mixtape and an idea behind it, it's actually beneficial to the artist, because then if you listen to Burden but not Mises, or vice versa, you might hear something that you've never heard while listening for your Burden song you want to hear on a, you know what I mean? It's just a different sound, different different playlists. Essentially, it's a playlist, right? Let's be honest. They're playlist. Was making playlist, but I was doing it in the sense of an old hip hop way of selling music. I missed the coffee break lives. Yeah, me too, Vicky. That's one of the things. But see, that's essentially I got in trouble for that. I got in trouble for the coffee break lives. I got in trouble for going live on company property with a company shirt on, which, I mean, I get it. The problem is that was never made clear from my employer, and the person that contacted my employer to notify them that I was doing this was part of the problem, because that wasn't all that was said, but that was my policy violation. And this was a company that to this day, there's people making Instagram videos in the shop. Like, they didn't really care. It wasn't a big deal, but it was only a big deal because somebody made it a big deal. Yeah, I appreciate you, True Texan. Yeah, Vicky, it doesn't matter though. I've argued it through and through. And like I said, my employer where I worked didn't give a shit. They were okay with it. Like, they didn't even know it was a policy. The company that owned my company was the problem, right? So it was the Papa company said, nope, we ain't having it. I'm a number. I completely understand, but that's what this YouTube stuff does to you. You know what I mean? That happened. So I had to accept it for what it was and keep going. It ain't no big deal. But no, I appreciate you guys. True Text, and I appreciate you throwing the super chat in there. You don't got to do that, dog, but I do appreciate it. RZ is Charles. Appreciate you, man. If you guys are in here, thanks for stopping by. If you have ideas for future episodes, let me know, man. I wanna talk about real life stuff on here. I want to talk about things that I am passionate about, but at the same time, there's also stuff that you guys are passionate about that I want to learn more about. There's a lot of stuff on YouTube, and especially on these YouTube lives and these podcasts that actually truly does interest a lot of us. We just don't know it exists. We don't know that people talk, like the baseball bat stuff really is cool to me. It might sound crazy, but when I played Little League in high school and travel baseball, I used a lot of the baseball bats that this guy goes back in time and tries against these newer ones. So it's cool to get a flashback and like, yo, that's the old school Omaha. Like, content is cool to have. Like, we are lucky that the internet exists in that sense, because we're able to kind of travel back into time and watch some stuff and have memories of a time that we won't ever get back. Like, that's pretty dope. You know what I mean? So I enjoy doing this stuff. I enjoy watching people that have interesting things to talk about. I appreciate these podcasts that any channel can do. And I invite any person with an opinion or anybody that has the want to expand their knowledge on different things to come up and kick it with me and conversate. You know, I think there's a lot of, and that goes for anyone. Like, there's people that have a lot of hate towards me, and there's people that have a lot of resentment towards me for things that I truly, I don't know. I don't know why, but I invite people like that to come challenge my, not challenge my opinions, but present yours and allow me to fire back at mine in a respectful manner too. Like, I think that's important. I think communities within music, fans, at the end of the day, bro, we could all go listen to some music and kumbaya. I believe that. I think that that's what music does, is it kind of unites people. But at the end of the day, I think we're all designed to love ourselves. You know what I'm saying? We're designed to be our biggest fan. So I think YouTube just creates a bunch of number one fans, and we all kind of go at each other's throats. United piece of the United States. Are we united? Yeah, I don't know. At the end of the day, I don't think it has anything to do with that. I think it boils back to respect. In YouTube, for me at least, I'm going to try to fight for my corner of my channel. I just ask for respect from the people around me. Like I don't see communities on YouTube as a place to argue. I see respectfully, yes. If you're going to argue respectfully, I think that's a great way to expand your knowledge, to expand you as a person. But negative stuff on YouTube, I think I'm going to just start to completely tone that stuff away. I think I'm going to push completely away from anything negative and try to stay as far as possible away from it, because I believe in that good vibration theory. I believe that if you surround yourself around a bunch of negativity, your life is just going to become negative. And it is shown true in some of my situations in my life. Looking back, I was like, yo, all those times that I thought I was living the best life, living the best way possible, I wasn't. And when I looked, I was surrounding myself with tons of negativity. Imagine that. And not to take nothing away for the fact that I was also doing wrong, but in the same sense, I was doing wrong, but I was also hanging around and surrounding myself with a lot of stuff that I shouldn't be doing and shouldn't be around. You can't get in trouble if you're not around trouble. You can't get in bad situations in life if you're not around bad situations in life. That's what it boils down to. So if you're a person that's trying to be successful and your goal in life is to be successful, that's why you're taught as a young kid, right, to hang around success. Why do you think school actually tries to point you in the direction of college? Yes, it's for education, but we all know college dorms are no place for anyone, right? It can get crazy in there. They're party zones. But in the eye of a human, more people are successful, like heart doctors and heart surgeons, right, that go to college and freaking, right? Not many heart surgeons you're going to find that are convicted felons. But convicted felons could be a heart surgeon. But because of the situations that they placed themselves in life early on, before they had education, before they had an understanding of life, they're now a felon. You want to change something in the world. You want to change something in America for the better. You want rehabilitation in the streets. Allow people to figure out a way to right a wrong other than being locked behind bars. I think that there is crimes that are suitable for locking somebody away, but I also believe there's a lot of people that spend a lot of time in jail that could have been rehabilitated and been a very productive member of society, but because of one decision, they now are homeless. I think the military does that to people. I think the court system does that to people. I think there's a lot of organizations that destroy us as people, regardless of one situation in our life. Like I said before, we're taught not to judge, but we're judged every day, right? So as children, we're taught don't judge people, don't do this, don't do that, be forgiving, be understanding. And then as adults, if we do those things and we don't judge people and we're forgiving and understanding, it turns around to bite us on our ass. So as humans, we adapt and say, oh, hell no. Now I'm judging everybody. And then they go, well, why are you judging people? Like America and time and society and what we're going through in time right now is insane. Like there's very few people that predicted right now. And the ones that did predict what we're going through, maybe not to a T of what we're going through, but damn close. Back then, they were called crazy. Psychopaths. It's crazy. Never going to happen. Not my America. It's not happening here. But look where we're at. Went to prison and became a lawyer. Yeah, John Wesley ain't ever going to do that. Is never going to happen again. Those things don't happen anymore because what society believes is a criminal, that's That's where it stops. Once society puts you as a criminal, there's nothing more after that for most people. The numbers are very low now. What is your level of success? Because I said this last night, I'm going to say this again. If I could go back and I could redo it, go at this thing you call life, I would have been a cop. And people might go, what? But because I believe that police are good people, and I believe that police really help more than they hurt. I think there is a lot of good cops. I think there's a lot of shitty cops. I've experienced both sides of it. But me, as somebody that was a criminal, somebody that was an inmate, somebody that was locked behind bars with detention officers allowing me to do what I did, the impact that the officers that were respectful had to me was much greater than any of the disrespect. I remember that there was a few officers that were such respectful officers after I was committing crimes that arrested me, that there was times that I remember very distinctively hoping, as I'm getting pulled over and I know I'm about to go to jail, I remember thinking in my brain, oh, I hope it's not Officer so-and-so. Oh, I hope it's not that. Because those cops felt so let down by this average dude getting in trouble. Like, their respect level was there. They appreciated me as a person. They just didn't appreciate what I did as a citizen, like as a civilian. And that stood out to me, dude. And that impact was enough to say, huh, if they were able to impact me that way, somebody that I hated cops, dude, I absolutely despised them. I felt like they only were doing this to make my life a living hell. And could the situation have been possible? Yes. But in all reality, I was committing a crime and they were doing their job. Were they excessive with it? Very possible. Was I an ass? Without a doubt. Was I in my brain said it's their job to come get me. Like it was a cat and mouse game. I was the criminal that I would be. Dude, if I did the shit that, like, let's say I walked outside right now. Like, I've thought about this. And this is what I talk about trying to own up to your own things and understand you as an individual. I've walked out my house, right, at 4 o'clock in the morning because I work nights, 10 o'clock in the afternoon, whatever. And I thought, if I seen a motherfucker like me, the shit that I used to do in my neighborhood right now, I would have called the cops too. Hell, I might have been tackling you depending on what you were doing. But nowadays you can't get away with that. Somebody's a shoot. It's crazy, bro. Like, I just believe that, like, cops as a whole have such a hard job, have such a dangerous job. I believe that they do change more lives than people give them credit for. And I think it would have been cool if I would have never gotten into the trouble that I got into to be a cop. I wouldn't be able to smoke weed, but I mean, I would. I don't know. I don't know how that would work. I'd be only. I don't. It wouldn't work. It wouldn't work because at the end of the day, like I said, everything molds everybody to be who they are. I would probably still be thinking pharmaceuticals were okay, and giving them another shot if I didn't understand the benefits that marijuana gave me. Is there things that it causes bad in my life, or has it? Yes, but it was only when it was illegal. Now that it's legal, what does it affect? I stink a little bit. I smoke, so obviously it gives me lung problems and breathing problems, but is what it is. But I appreciate you guys. I love you guys. Thanks for stopping by. Like I said, leave some comments. Let me know. Give me some ideas. What do you want? What do you want as a topic? What do you want to talk about? You know, I'm open to trying different topics, different things. I don't want to react to much. If there's something you guys want me to check out, leave it in the comments, and I'll make notes to kind of watch it on my personal time and maybe touch on what you spoke on. I want to get Vic from the Country Rap Report. I got to get him up here with me and talk. I'm going to get Kenny Reacts up here. I got a lot of my friends on YouTube that I want to get a part of this. So those people are definitely some ones I want to do. It might not be every Monday. It might be Monday. I mean, it might not be every Monday at 11. It might start being Monday in the afternoons. It depends on what's going on. Depends on if I'm able to get, like Vic, for example. I don't think Vic, he's probably sleeping right now, or who knows. I think he works nights still. So if I'm able to get Vic on a Monday afternoon or something, I'm going to do it. I know Vic's live with the duel tonight, so maybe I'll try to get a hold of Vic and see if I can jump over there and do the duel with him tonight. So we'll see. But I appreciate you guys. I love each and every one of you. I hope you have a great day. Mom, have a great day. Carly, Vicky, Rachel, Faisal, Vicky. Oh, I said Vicky twice. You guys have a great day. Don't let nobody ruffle your feathers today. Don't let nobody destroy your day. Take control of your day. It's your day. Like, I have to remind myself that all the time. Don't let other people's actions or emotions or whatever change the course of your day. I love y'all. I appreciate you guys. Have a great night. Great day.